It's funny because it says footage from a game in development, but that shit's never coming out. Oh God, were they ever good? I guess we're going to start asking now, aren't we?
Yes. Shout. It's never coming out.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, dirty that. I'm Big Damn Chris.
I'm Big Damn.
Patient. We've got some stuff to talk about this week. Coming up, we're going to talk about some of the trailers from E3 so far. We're recording this in the midst of the E3 nonsense, so we're going to touch on a few games, including
as we're recording this, Ubisoft and PlayStation conferences are happening. So
yes, they're probably just taking a big dump on some beloved properties, and probably also showing off Spider-Man. So I guess we'll cover that later. I guess,
of course.
I've forgotten about that. Oh, I hope they do.
I hope they do.
That'd be pretty.
We'll find out.
We're also going to be talking about what else did we fucking write down? We're also going to be talking about Black Panther, which dropped a big steaming, beautiful trailer onto our chests this week.
And talking of big steamers,
we've got a big old Mummy review.
I'm going to talk about the Mummy.
Matt's seen the Mummy.
I've seen the Mummy.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to do non-spoilers and we're going to do a bit of spoilers, but I think we're taking the internet's etiquette this week with the Mummy, which is the internet's entire attitude has been, we're going to spoil it, because who fucking cares?
I'm going to spoil the shit out of it so you don't have to watch it.
And then we'll cover some of your emails. But first, we lost a goddamn legend this past week. We lost the great Adam West, actor of stage, screen, voice artist in a career revival in his later years. A man who was beloved and kind of shunned, and then the world woke up and realised the world was being a big bag of dicks.
Everyone loves Adam West.
Absolutely. And I'm just...
And as well they should.
It's as little difference as it makes, obviously, to what's happened. It's... I imagine it was a comfort to him and his family, to know in recent years, pop culture kind of circled back round and went, oh my God, you're amazing. Why are we shunning you? You're incredible. Because obviously Adam West was known for a bunch of TV in the US back in the late 50s, early 60s, but most notably in 1966 took on the role of Batman in Batman, the Bill Dozier TV series, alongside Burt Ward as Robin. G. Willikers, and it was a cultural phenomenon because it was a comedy show that kids thought was an action show, and adults thought was the most hilarious dry thing that they could ever see on television.
It's so dry.
It's beautifully dry. It
sucks all the moisture from any room in which it is being viewed. It's that dry.
Quickly, Robin, to the bat moisture sucker.
You watch it after now we've grown up. We watch it and go, God, they knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't camp out of ineptitude. It was camp out of pitching it perfectly to be a bit of a jab.
It's that's the thing. We've discussed that show before, but it's very much a case of to young kids it was one thing, to adults it's another, and there's this unfortunate grey area in the middle where teenagers kind of don't get it.
It's the same kind of thing.
I think we've all fallen prey to that bit at some point.
It's the same kind of thing where you don't like to kiss your mum goodbye when you're going to school.
Yeah.
As when you're a teenager.
Well, there was something in the 2000s, a period in the 2000s where I was like, this is stupid. That Batman show was stupid. Even though I was a kid, I'd watched the film on VHS and loved it.
Because it's great.
Then I saw more clips of it and sort of started... The thing that brought me round was in the early 2000s, in my very early teens, hearing him as Mayor West in Family Guy. I was like, oh my God, why is he called Adam West? He sounds like Adam West. Oh, it is Adam West. Oh, he's really funny. And then it sort of woke me up. So when I started to see more clips of it, I realised, oh my God, he's always been a comedian in that role. It was always comedy.
Yeah.
I just never realised it. And writer Mark Bernardin summed his approach up beautifully this week on Instagram. He said, despite being surrounded by the joke, he never let on that he was in on it.
Yeah. It was
Which is brilliant.
Because it worked because he's completely straight the whole time.
Yeah.
He never cracks.
He's virtuous and, genuinely morally sound and heroic, but in a way that adults go...
Virtues are hard earned. That's why they're virtues.
Giggity. That's a line.
Yes,
that's
it
a goddamn line.
It is a line from Batman.
Oh God! It's obviously he wasn't just Batman. He was he was a father. He was a husband. He was all these things. He was a performer for years, but he was also a very big advocate like kid viewers in particular. Like he always wanted like young audiences to like have entertainment. He understood the seriousness of the messages that the young audiences would absorb from Batman and Legends of the Super Friends, things like this. Like he he understood the importance of that. And like, I mean, come on, it was a juggling act. Everything he was doing was a juggling act, and he did it beautifully.
Yeah.
Mini resurgence in the 90s, where like Batman had come out of syndication in the States, so was sort of being looked on fondly and mocked fondly. Shows like The Simpsons started to reference it more often. For example, 100% pure West. He's talking about like the figure under the tights. It's like, they start to think, and then obviously Family Guy, like him and Seth MacFarlane met on a pilot I think Seth MacFarlane made a long time ago, and realised they had the same sense of humour. Like he wanted Adam West to voice something, so he got involved.
Oh yeah, I think we were talking about that on the Weekly Planet. There's a show that he did a pilot for where he's like a veiled actor, like a washed-up actor who used to play a TV detective.
Yeah.
And then just keeps turning up to crime scenes and trying to solve real life. It's a bit like Mindhorn.
Basically Adam West, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, but as a detective... Mayor Adam West, sorry, but as a detective. And then obviously there's the beautiful episode of Batman the Animated Series about the Grey Ghost.
Sorry. The Grey Ghost!
If you're gonna watch, if you've not got much time this week to set aside to sort of give yourself a dose of Adam West, like sort of in tribute, set yourself 20 minutes aside and watch the Grey Ghost episode of Batman Animated Series.
You've got
it's beautiful because that sums it up perfectly. Like it's a story in which Batman like has to solve a crime revolving around an actor who used to play the hero that inspired him as a child, and like you sort of realise, hang on, are you saying that his Batman persona is partly inspired by this as well? Are you saying Batman inspired Batman to be Batman? It's beautifully done. And it was also brilliant because imagine them... Don't hyper time me, boy. Imagine them approaching like Adam West for that script and going, basically, we adore you and everything you did for us as children, like with that show. So this is us paying tribute to the impact you had on us. It's like, I think it was probably the most straight and like dramatic role he'd had in a mainstream product as well for years. So for it to be a sort of a tribute to him is very sweet. Obviously found big success again, massive career revival with Family Guy, which has lost a very large part of why people watch, I think now. Like a lot of people who've fallen in and out of love with it will still watch because they'll be like, I wonder if Mayor West's in this one. Yeah. And it's like, you just lost that now. It's like, it's probably as heavy a hit as when we lost Marcia Wallace from The Simpsons when Krabappel bowed out. So it's it's a big impact there, like for young audiences and modern audiences and people who like terrible comedy shows. I own 12 box sets. I can't say anything, but yeah.
You own 12 box sets of the Batman '66 series in its entirety.
Oh, I wish. I would buy 12 of them, turn them into a chair, sit on them, and then watch another box set. If you haven't seen it yet, you can usually find it in HMV for decent deals for the DVD version. But they finally a couple of years ago released the complete Batman TV series on DVD and Blu-ray. Definitely worth a watch. If you can only set aside 2 hours, watch Batman the movie from 1966.
I watched it again a couple of years ago for the first time in years. It's
mental.
Pretty great.
It's mental.
It's silly. It's really silly.
It's so stupid.
But it's actually really fun.
One of the best scenes in any Batman thing ever is the scene early on in that story when he and Robin deduct which criminals exactly are involved.
Yeah.
Because it's a deduction that doesn't make any sense. But somehow they identify all 4 of the villains involved in the story.
There's the fact that everything in the Batcave is labelled.
Every freaking thing.
Bat, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I watched this when we found out the news. It was toward the end of last week. Yeah. So that night, I cracked open for the first time. I hadn't watched it yet. Batman: Return of the Cape Crusaders. I bought it earlier in the year, and the animated sequel to the animated series. Yeah. Not the animated series. The animated sequel to the 60 TV series made by DC Animation at the moment. Made with a lot of love and starring Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin, respectively. Julie Newmar comes back as Catwoman. 3 other actors play the Penguin, the Riddler, and the Joker. Do an excellent job. Halfway through, it was only halfway through the whole bloody film that I realised who the Riddler was, the voice actor. It was Wally Wingert. So I was like, hang on.
A Frank Gorshin.
Doing a Frank Gorshin and nailing it perfectly. And it made me realise, hang on. Wally Wingert's Riddler in this sounds perfectly like Frank Gorshin, but also with the flavour of his own voice.
Yeah.
Wally Wingert's Riddler in the Arkham games, which is my favourite casting for the Riddler, incidentally, is sort of channeling the John Glover version from the animated series.
Yeah, kind of.
So basically, his Riddler interprets other Riddlers and makes it work. I just instantly was like, I want to hear Wally Wingert play the Riddler in more things.
What about Jim Carrey's Riddler?
Jim Carrey was basically Jim Carrey with a teaspoon of Frank Gorshin. I think was how he played it. There's like a bit of Frank Gorshin in there, but it's mostly Jim Carrey.
The Puzzler.
Oh God. Does anybody else feel like a fried egg? But I watched that and it's great because in it, like, the basic plot is that during like a whole big caper with the big four, the main four villains again, Catwoman uses this like drug on Batman to sort of try and turn him to the bad side, like sort of the love potion kind of thing. And his will's too strong, so he doesn't do it. He's like, no, despite your temptations, I'll never turn to the side of evil and all this stuff. It's great. But then as the story goes on, his behaviour starts to change, and they realise that, oh God, the drug, like, he's been staving it off, but it's slow acting. So as the story's going on, Batman becomes the villain of the movie.
Brilliant.
There's a device that's called, like, the multiplier that, like, makes duplicates of things. So he starts to duplicate himself. He kicks Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara out of their jobs and replaces them with Batman. See where it's got. I won't say everything, but like it becomes like Batman as a fascist police force, basically, but in the 60s humour. So like it's completely like dry and camp at the same time.
They love their weird gadgets. Like there's the gadget in the
movie, the dehydrator.
It just turns people into dust,
into powder.
But then you can add water, and they're alive again.
But the best bit is the first scene where you see it started to affect him, where they do the thing that you always do when you get a bigger like effect scope for anything, because obviously this is animation, they could take it further than the show ever did. Naturally, midway through the story, they go to space. And
what?
Batman defeats like the Riddler, Penguin and the Joker in this sequence, and it's the first bit where you can tell that, hang on, something's slightly wrong. Adam West is basically being given the chance to play like Superman 3 evil Superman version of Batman.
Brilliant.
He's just like slightly grumpier and a bit nastier than normal.
Just doing shots.
Yeah. But the best part is he says 2 lines during the fight. So one of them says something like, I think Penguin says, I need a doctor, and he says, Doctor, I'm the surgeon, and this is the operating table.
Brilliant.
And you're like, they just slipped in some Dark Knight. But not only that, Joker says, he's gone nuts! So he says, you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. And it's like, oh my God! The only reason they've done this whole movie is just so they can give Adam West, like, grim, gritty dialogue. It's amazing. The only thing they were missing was a bit where, like, all they needed was just a shot where he's in a car and he turns to Robin and he goes, what are you, Daffy? Are you dense? I'm the gosh darn Batman. They don't go that far, unfortunately.
Good. No, good, because that's a stupid
That would
thing.
be a funny-ass tribute. Like, how to get something good out of All-Star Batman.
I would take Batman 66 over I'm the goddamn Batman
any
day. All-Star Batman and Robin.
But Matt, the Joker doesn't smile and he's got a big dragon tattoo. And look, Vicky Vale's debuted and she's in panties.
All-Star Batman and Robin is a blight on comics.
All-Star Batman and Robin is the ironing of comic books. If I could just have the illustrations and just glance through them, I'd be happy with that.
Because the problem is, it's what the illustrations are depicting.
Yeah, fair play.
Although I do like the idea of a completely yellow room for
Yeah.
Green Lantern.
It's like just to dampen his powers.
And with lemonade.
Oh, God.
Lemonade?
But so yeah, like Adam West, Return of the Cape Crusaders, give that a watch if you can, especially if you like the TV show. It's a beautiful sequel.
I should give it a watch.
Gonna miss him. He's one of those people, we were talking about the other day, me and Lou, he's one of those people that like, you just don't imagine is going to pass away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't think they're immortal, but, you find out how old they are, you go, really? Because it doesn't seem possible. So, yeah, it's a shame that we've lost him, but what a massive legacy of work left behind.
What a guy.
What a guy. And we might have one more performance from him.
Yeah.
As Batman in the can. Apparently they got most of the dialogue. Apart from the ADR, they got all the dialogue done for the follow-up to Return of the Cape Crusaders. So there'll be one more animated movie with Adam West as Batman in the future. They might have to get a sound alike to do the ADR, or they'll just work a lot of technical wizardry over time and find ways to make what they've already got fit the animation.
They'll write in some sort of contrivance where his voice sounds different.
Yeah,
bits of it.
Keith David. I'm voiced by Keith David. Speaking of black superheroes, Eh?
Keith David is a black suit.
He is.
He doesn't have a code name. He's just Keith David.
I'm the goddamn Keith David.
He turned that man into a snake.
Get swifty. Black Panther trailer dropped. Kevin Smith mentioned on Fatman and Batman he has a theory.
What's his theory?
That it's a demon, a dancing demon.
No!
Like something isn't right there.
No, I've been Buffy.
Buffy! You just got Buffy, son!
Buffy!
Kevin Smith's theory is that Marvel never let DC have a spotlight. I don't think it's as simple as that, but there is definitely a business thing going on here.
Yeah.
Where DC, something lands from DC, either a good trailer that gets everybody excited or a teaser image, and then Marvel will go, zip! Flop.
What the dick out.
And show something else off. But even this time, they sort of almost left like a slight window of respect. Wonder Woman had its moment. Wonder Woman is still having its moment. Wonder Woman enjoyed a very profitable second weekend in the box office, completely trouncing the thing we're going to talk about later. Yeah. And it's done great. 2 weeks have passed. Marvel have gone, it's time. Whip out the Black Panther teaser trailer.
But first, that amazing teaser poster.
You know, I didn't like it at first.
On his throne.
I didn't like it at first because I thought it looked photoshopped, and then I looked closer. The whole thing's been given like a painted kind of look. Yeah. So I think it's just a case of it's a comic book thing that I know in my head is a comic book costume, but an actor's face. So it must have jarred. But in terms of like that look of that poster, it's gorgeous. Like just sat on the throne. I'm a King T'Challa, motherfucker. I am King T'Challa of Wakanda. Motherfucker. He just looks so badass. Chadwick Boseman reprising the role from Captain America Civil War.
Chadwick Boseman's a cool motherfucker.
It's a goddamn all-star cast as well. The amount of people in this film is nuts. Like, we were watching the trailer and we were like, Michael B. Jordan's the villain. Yeah. And he looks scary. Like, he looks like he wants to rip
Killmonger.
Killmonger! And at one point, like, we were watching the trailer before we recorded this, like, recapping, and I was like, hang on, is that Daniel Kaluuya?
Yeah, that's Daniel
It's freaking Daniel Kaluuya's in the trailer. I was like, oh my god. Who else have we got in the movie? We've got...
Lupita Nyong'o's in it.
Lupita Nyong'o. Oh. Still my beating butthole eyes.
You got Martin Freeman and Andy
that was a reference
Serkis.
just to reiterate. No. That was a reference to her tiny character from Star Wars. Cool. I'm not saying she has butthole eyes.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, Maz Kanata's butthole eyes.
Jeez.
Who else we got? Sorry,
Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman.
Yes, Andy Serkis plays in the role of Claw, Ulysses Claw.
Ulysses Claw.
Who was in Age of Ultron, in a role where we're all like, oh shit, that's Claw!
He's a sweetie?
He's like an Avengers villain, he's like a Black Panther villain. Oh no, okay, I guess that's it. Okay, cuttlefish. That's it.
No,
okay.
You know they were setting up for Black Panther because they introduced him. They mentioned Wakanda, and then he'd take his arm off.
The moment they said they had a Black Panther movie in the works, which I think was just after Age of Ultron,
Age of Ultron, I think.
Or just before, I was like, oh, right, okay, so in seeds, and they definitely saw T because the teaser trailer opens with, oh shit, he's in the movie.
Yes,
and it looks like if he's not a main villain, he's part of Killmonger's like plan.
Yeah.
Like, they're using him for something.
Because you see him in custody and you've got him... I imagine
I think the bank robbery's first, or whatever that is
when
first.
when he's dressed up as a paramedic, that's probably first, yeah.
Then it's the interrogation, but then they break through the wall to take him out. We noticed later in the trailer that really cool shot where Black Panther flips off the car.
Yeah.
There's like a big wave of energy, which looks similar to visually how they tend to show Claw's like shock wave, his sonic weapon.
Because in the comics, he's become a being of living sound.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll go that far in the films, but they'll definitely give him an arm that does that.
Yeah. Well, that's what he had originally, I think, and then his body's just deteriorated to the point where he's basically just living sound.
He's part of one of my favourite surprise hit miniseries for me from the last few years, Superior Carnage, which I wasn't expecting anything good from, and I really enjoyed it. He's the partner of Wizard in it that keeps the symbiote subdued, which makes perfect sense because it's Sonic's. It's like, oh my god, you're right. Like Claw's the one who's like good dog. Nice. Like it makes perfect sense.
Nice.
So yeah, and of course in the comics he looks kind of dumb. So yay, dumb looking guy.
He does look dumb.
But yeah, Martin Freeman, like I said, reprising his role from Civil War,
and a whole bunch of other people whose names I do not recall, but they look amazing.
It just looks so good. Right, so Wakanda looks like... I'm trying to remember where I saw it described like this. Someone described it as it looks like African culture, but someone's looked forward into the 22nd century.
Yeah, it's like...
and gone, that'll do.
It's an actual thing. Like, it's an actual stylist, architectural style. But yeah,
this is entire cityscapes made in it, and it's this is a beautiful looking movie. And it's only a teaser, so it's lots of quick flashes of things.
I mean, and Marvel are also particularly good with their. I mean, obviously Sony are doing the marketing for Spider-Man, so they're fucking that up.
Oh god, yeah. Did you know Spidey really wants to watch the big game?
He really wants to watch the big game.
Really wants to watch the big game.
But like, look at that.
I mean, I will happily watch more Tom Holland and Jon Favreau doing stuff, but Spidey's not that fucked about watching the big game.
I just want to watch the big game.
Oh god, when's Papa John gonna rock up?
Oh, Papa John! No, calm down.
Should I watch the game?
Look at the Guardians 2 marketing. Like how that movie was plastered everywhere.
Yeah.
How much of that plot did we actually get from those trailers?
None. We knew that Peter met his dad. That was it.
And when you see the film,
yeah,
you work out, oh well, some of those shots in the trailer from actually really fucking late in the film.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it didn't, because it was out of context. The way it was done was it's like it didn't give you any of that. Because it's more of a mood trailer than it is a story trailer.
Tease you a bit with the character interactions more than anything, and make you go, "Oh, I want to watch those guys in another adventure. This will be great." Oh, and Peter meets his dad.
I think in terms of like, you don't need to know what the
we watched
story
that for the third
is.
time this week.
It's good.
I have sensitive nipples.
My nipples. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Maybe your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy. It's so good.
It's so good.
But yeah, Black Panther's done that similar thing. It's like a mood board. This trailer was a mood board. This is like action heavy.
And my mood is fucking excited.
Yeah,
that's the mood that's on my board.
I want it now. February, weird time for a Marvel film. I can't remember any of the Marvel movie that's come out in February.
Well, they're bringing out more than they ever have before.
Yeah, because next year we've got Black Panther.
Oh, Doctor Strange is in February or something.
No, it was November.
It was November of last year.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
This
is November because it was quite a late release, but I suppose it's because they were a clash with Rogue One.
I don't even know what's going on anymore. I don't...
Oh, mate.
Oh, no.
Oh, mensch.
Yeah, I mean...
Step into the spotlight.
Marvel are bringing out so many movies that they can't... Stop. You're going to break the glass, and then I'm going to be all annoyed at you. I'm going to have to sweep it up.
What about the water?
Yes. But have you seen Creed yet?
Not yet, but this is Ryan
Coogler, same director.
Coogler, yeah.
He's also co-written it. He wrote and directed Creed with Michael B. Jordan starring,
aka
and
the Rocky spin-off,
The Rocky Awakens.
Yes,
that's basically what it is.
From what I know, that is a perfect description.
Yeah, Creed is fucking awesome. Like, so.
Yeah, because wasn't there a whole thing of like, that studio went, we want another one of these, and he was like, you either go ahead and not necessarily have the same formula and tone as I established, or you wait for me, because I'm going to do Black Panther.
Wait for me!
It's like, I will happily tell another story in this universe, but I'm going to go tell a story in the Marvel universe first.
They tried to get Ava DuVernay, who did, what's the Martin Luther King film?
The what now?
The one,
This is a bit of
Ava DuVernay. What did she do?
Abergavenny?
Ava DuVernay.
Abergavenny. Abergavenny, oh yeah.
Ava DuVernay.
Abergavenny.
Selma. She directed Selma.
Right, okay. Right, okay. So they're trying to get her to replace him.
They tried to get her for Black Panther.
Oh, gotcha.
Then she was attached for a bit, and then she dropped out again. And then they got Ryan Coogler.
It's quite.
But yeah, I think man, it's a good looking movie.
It's a damn fine choice.
He's got some chops, directorial chops. He's got style, and
he got grace.
He gets great performances from his actors.
Yeah,
like the core cast of Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, and Stallone in Creed turn in fucking excellent performances. Particularly Michael B. Jordan, that guy's a fucking star. And
now he's the bad guy of Black Panther.
Yeah, he's good.
From one shitty Marvel thing into hopefully a brilliant one.
The Cinematic Marvel Universe giving Human Torch actors second chances.
Yeah! Oh my god! I hadn't even thought about it like that. That's true.
Yep.
Oh shit!
All two of them.
Well, up to the Coleman guy.
Just waiting tables.
Get him a cameo. Cast him as I was going to say Baron von Strucker, but they already did him.
Baron von Strucker.
And Zemo, never mind.
Cast him as the others. There's multiple.
Cast him as an Italian Red Skull.
Don't
Step into the spotlight.
Don't do it. Black Panther looks great. Let's move on.
What should we move on to, Matt? Should we move across the pond to a certain gaming event?
What we shall do is we're going to do what Square Enix do.
Oh.
And we're going to announce something.
Yeah.
And then never bring it out. We're going to keep talking about it every opportunity we get.
And we're going to release loads of spin-offs and preambles and preludes.
But we're never going to bring it out.
Nice. Basically, that's a segue into the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that landed at E3.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit about E3 in general, but
a couple trailers in partics. Well, we'll start with Kingdom Hearts, because I think we've got some beef to air, if that's even a thing. Do you air beef? Let's put some beef on the washing line.
If you could cure it,
Let's stick beef on the clothesline, man.
If you're going to make some jerky, you're going to air your beef.
Some beef. Let's just punch some beef.
Well, I don't think we can
like
do
Rocky,
that.
Let's just punch some beef.
I don't think we can actually, legally, do that.
I'm just going to go outside and punch my beef.
I'm just going to can't punch your beef in public, Chris.
Oh! Kingdom Hearts 3 dropped a trailer that reminded us of the best and the worst of Kingdom Hearts. We're talking about this just before we recorded. I said to Matt, what's the best thing about Kingdom Hearts? And Matt answered, like any sane human being would,
Disney
World! And then I said, what's the worst thing? And he went, Final Fantasy. To which I went, yeah, pretty much. Because the Final Fantasy baggage that seems to hang over the game isn't
it's not even Final Fantasy baggage, it's the original baggage they've made up.
But it's all with the Final Fantasy template, I find.
Yeah.
Like, they've used Final Fantasy... Organization 13 is very much a Final Fantasy kind of byproduct.
It's a feel.
I think a couple of the members are from Final Fantasy games, if I remember correctly.
I don't believe so.
Oh, no, the people that were investigating it and all that stuff, like Leon and fucking...
Oh, yeah, they're Final Fantasy
all
characters.
Them, yeah. Because that was the nice thing in the first game. In the first Kingdom Hearts, it was like, oh, it's about different worlds, and there's different worlds, like, have Disney, some of the Disney stories are part of those different worlds. That's really cool. Oh my god, and the kids on this beach, they're like a kid-cast version of Final Fantasy X. Oh, that's a really cool little Easter egg. Oh shit, Final Fantasy 7 characters! Oh shit! Wait a minute, continuity-wise, this makes no sense anymore, but oh shit, they're great! And it was kind of fun, but it's by the end of the second one, the lore is so complex. Then you have like 80 spin-offs.
Yeah. So
a few years ago, I think we figured it out. It was about 5. They announced that Kingdom Hearts 3 is definitely happening, and here's the first footage, and it looked amazing. We all got hyped, and it's like 5 years on, and the trailer that they showed at E3 still says this is footage from a game still in development.
Because that's all Square Enix do.
Yeah.
They announce games and they show pretty trailers, and then they never fucking come out. You know,
people suck their dick though. Still, like the comments I've seen on this trailer, are people going, "Oh, this is incredible! Oh my god!" It's like, guys, you should be annoyed.
Do you remember Final Fantasy 15 just came out a few months ago?
Yeah,
that was announced in 2006.
Jesus Christ, was it under a different name?
It was announced as Final Fantasy 13 Versus.
Oh Christ!
Because they were doing multiple games in the 13 universe, and that was one of them that was announced. And it didn't come out till like, well, I think it was September just gone, or maybe October just gone.
Toward the end of last year, yeah. Bloody hell.
2006 they announced it.
Well, Kingdom Hearts, the first one was
2000 a PS3 game.
What, the Final Fantasy game originally?
Final Fantasy was originally a PS3 game, yeah.
There you go. I mean, for Kingdom Hearts, the first one was, if I remember correctly, 2002.
Yeah.
The second one was 2005.
Years.
So we've been waiting 12 years for this.
Yes.
12 years. Although, we were waiting 7 years before we got the announcement, and we're like, oh my god, that's amazing! Oh, they've waited for the next gen, like, because obviously the first two were on PS2, that they've waited for the next gen.
I guarantee
after
this
PS3.
was originally in development for PS3.
Oh, absolutely. But they've filled the time with a shit ton of spin-offs that make the lore so complicated. Chain of Memories, 382/6 bollocks.
We've had.
Oh,
I
God.
believe we've had.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts for the PS2.
Yes.
We got
Chain of Memories
Chain
for
of
the
Memories
GBA.
for the GBA, which was then made into Chain of Memories Recoded for the PS2.
But not in the Western world. I think that came out late. This is all
It
in
didn't
Japan.
come out until the HD collection for over here.
Yeah.
Then we got...
So the main game, and then a prequel to the second game for the Game Boy, which is perfect, because you're like, oh great, we're going to learn a bit about what the next game's going to be about.
I've still got my original cartridge copy of Chain of Memories.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's pretty sweet.
It's a little flat. It's GBA, isn't it? It's a little
GBA,
long cartridge,
it's a little flat, yeah.
But that's cool, because it's like, so it's a build-up. Like, we've got another year till the next game comes out.
Yeah.
So here's a prequel. Amazing. Can't wait. That'll be great. And I can play it in the car, in the passenger seat.
I'm so
this is
excited.
great. Kingdom Hearts 2 comes out. It's pretty damn great. They chuck Tron and Pirates of the Caribbean in there as well. So there's some realistic looking people, and that confuses things as well. Compared to Sora and his size 95 feet.
We get, then we got, I think 358 over 2 days.
Feet bigger than Donald Duck's entire torso.
I think 358 over 2 days was a mobile game?
No, that is Nintendo DS.
Original DS.
I've got that, yeah. I've got that.
So 358 over 2 days was
and
DS.
I gave up playing it 3 hours in because it was still in the quote-unquote tutorial.
Oh, fuck me. Then we got...
I can now watch the cutscenes on a Redux.
Birth by Sleep for PSP.
Yes.
And then Dream Drop Distance for 3DS.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we've just got 2.8, had a little extra bit in it that just came out on PS3 and is now on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah. PS3, a few years ago, about 4 years ago, got Kingdom Hearts 1.5, which is the Japan Redux, uncut. It must have been 2013 because I was in my Media City flat.
Jesus.
Number 2 came out shortly after we moved here to this house, so that was 2014, I think.
Yeah.
So even that's been 3 years since that came out. Those were the PS3. Now, the first one included Chain of Memories cutscenes.
It's Chain of Memories Recoded, which is the PS2 version
right, so
of
there's
Chain
some
of Memories.
there's some gameplay, but it's mostly like cutscenes to tell the story.
It's the full game.
I've not cracked into it yet. I've still been playing
Chain of
the
Memories
game.
Recoded it's a full Chain of Memories game.
Right.
It's rebuilt in
Okay.
the original Kingdom Hearts engine instead of the top down pseudo 2D.
So it's a Kingdom Hearts, but shorter.
Same
essentially.
gameplay as Chain of Memories.
Yeah.
Original Kingdom Hearts engine.
Okay, gotcha. That also included cutscenes from one of the others. I can't remember which. But edited together into a movie. Then Kingdom Hearts 2.5 comes out, which is the redux of...
it's 2.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Birth by Sleep.
And
I think the cutscenes
from Dream Drop Distance, yeah. So that's that. Then 2.8 came out a few months ago, which is a new short game, like shortish campaign, like a 6-hour campaign.
Yeah.
Featuring characters not from the other games, like it's sort of leading into... It's a prequel to number 3.
Yeah.
But also, I think, all the edited cutscenes from another thing, plus a movie that was not on the 2.5 that did come out on the Redux for number 2 in Japan, that they've dubbed since. There's like a short, 25-minute film.
I've literally gone cross-eyed.
Yeah, oh god. And then not to mention that shortly before that, PS4 got their version of 1.5 and 2.5 as a single boxed release.
Let's stop talking about Kingdom Hearts.
When's 3 going to come out, Matt?
Never.
Cool. So there's that. We also have another game that I don't think either of us are particularly too passionate about.
What's
but I think it's an interesting choice for setting, and it may be the one that makes me go, I might give it a try. Assassin's Creed Origins.
Don't care.
Which was actually formally announced by a gay Target employee last week when they put up a picture of the pre-order card for the deluxe edition they were going to hang up in store. I love how that happens. Why would you do that? People must do that because they're like, oh my god, I'm going to get so many retweets. It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, it's like, oh my god, I've got 400 retweets. I've also been fired. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, why would you do that? Wouldn't you find it if you worked in game? You used to work in Blockbuster, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it's less about new releases there in that sort of way. But if you worked into game and someone came along and went, oh, well, fuck it, let's use Blockbuster as an analogy. If someone come along to you while you're in Blockbuster and went, right, don't tell anybody, right? But they're re-releasing Evil Dead, a complete uncut version, it's video nasty, they're only just about to put the DVD out, but we've got hold of, we're going to be putting this out.
Yes.
And you got it 2 or 3 weeks before legally it's announced and stuff, or something like that. You'd keep it to yourself, wouldn't you? You might tell a friend or something, but you'd be like, it's cool knowing that. It's really cool that I know that.
Yeah.
Why are people tweeting it out? I can talk about this. I can talk about this now, several years on. But I was at Rothlock Studios in Cardiff when they were filming Cold War, the Doctor Who episode with the Ice Warrior.
Oh yeah. I remember.
And I knew it was an Ice Warrior because it was mentioned to me while I was there.
Yeah.
Now, I was like, okay, right. And when you go there to film, I've filmed at Rothlock a few times with behind the scenes featurettes of stuff. You sign NDA, a non-disclosure agreement.
Of course.
Basically saying you can't say anything you've seen in here, you can't publicly talk about when you leave. So they didn't specify Doctor Who, but I was just chatting with one of the actors who was working on that episode. They were talking about it, and they said, like, you're not going to tell anyone, are you? I was like, no. I said, right, so it's the Nice Warrior episode. I was like, oh shit, this is like in 2012. So I'm like, oh right, okay, that's really cool. And I had that information for like a year before it was publicly announced the Ice Warriors were the story. I kept that in, because I was like, that's a cool fact to know.
You did keep it in.
That's a really cool fact to know.
Big tease.
I can talk now, because it's 4 years after the episode TX. But it was like, that's really cool. So why would this, like, Target guy throw away his job, which I imagine was probably, like, decent hours, decently paid. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a big fuck you to the company. But guaranteed it would have been, I'll get so many likes for this. I'll get so many thumbs up for this.
Especially for a game as...
probably going to be mundane as...
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Origins.
I am a bit of a sucker for ancient Egyptian stuff.
Yeah.
And they're tying that in big time. Like, it's set in ancient Egypt. The thing that puts me off a bit is I'm like... Because Lucy's a big fan of the Assassin's Creed series, because, bless her. No, she really digs them, and, like, she makes it look fun. Like, she actually makes it look... When she gets into combat, I'm like, maybe I should try these out.
Hey, I played Assassin's Creed games. They're not fun.
I played the first one and I didn't have fun. And that's why I never carried on.
The first one's definitely not fun.
But
There's some fun
ancient Egypt setting, and the fact this is the origin of the Assassins. Like, the Assassin's Creed
origin stories this far into a series always work out great.
But for me, as an outsider who just sort of casually watches it, someone else play it, I'm like, maybe this is the one I try out now.
I guarantee you it's not going to be as interesting as you think it is.
Probably won't be. I mean, as a casual watcher of it, I'm still annoyed that they ended the Desmond present-day storyline the way they did.
Oh, God.
Because I'm like, no, like, follow it up. What they've done now is they've gone, people play it because of the past settings. So they've just scrapped all that completely.
Which is why I don't play it anymore, because they scrapped the present-day stuff.
There's no story, really, anymore. But at the same time, I would run around it. I mean, put it this way. Lou, are you there?
No, she's gone. No, she's not.
Lou? Are you excited for Assassin's Creed Origins? She says yeah. So an Assassin's Creed fan is excited for Assassin's Creed Origins.
I'm not an Assassin's Creed fan. I'm not excited for Assassin's Creed Origins.
Are you excited for Ass?
Depends on the ass.
Ass?
What I will say about Assassin's Creed Origins...
Creed!
What was interesting about it was that it was debuted as part of the... Microsoft's lineup for the Xbox One X, which is the super powerful
Xbox One,
the Xbox One
brand X.
So
That's
now
a stupid ass
the
name.
Xbox One family is going to be composed of the Xbox One S, which is the smaller version of the original Xbox One, and the Xbox One X,
which will be a admittedly probably same shape, size, if not smaller than the S.
It's pretty much.
But also have power, because that's the thing with the PlayStation Pro. PlayStation 4 Slim was announced at the same time as Pro, if I remember correctly. It was like, here's the Pro! And also, now when you buy PlayStation 4, it'll be a slimmer version. That's what it looks like. And it's like a 2-tiered cake, and the Pro is a 3-tiered cake. The Pro is pretty big.
You got some meat in your sandwich.
The Pro is a meaty old machine.
Well, they talk up the Xbox One X. It's got vapor cooling.
Oh, fuck off!
It's a console that vapes.
Oh god!
It also abbreviates to Xbox.
Of course it does.
One X.
Yeah.
So the original Xbox.
Oh god!
Get this. This is the lineage. The original Xbox.
Yes. The Xbox.
Xbox 360.
Yes.
Xbox 360 Elite.
Yes.
Xbox 360 Slim.
Yes.
Xbox 360 E. Which was the Super Slim Xbox 360.
Yes.
Xbox One.
Yeah.
Xbox One S.
Right.
Xbox One X.
Fuck right off.
That being said, though, it does look incredibly powerful. It hoses down the PS4 Pro in terms of like paper specs.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be rendering stuff at native 4K. It's also going to be 450 quid over it.
Oh, jeez. Now, the Xbox is normally a decently affordable console.
Well, by comparison,
for the most part.
You can pick up a PS4 Pro at the moment with 2 games for 350 quid.
That's not too bad, actually. For 2 games, that's not too bad.
So for a...
Oh, wow. For the first time ever, Xbox is kind of much pricier than the PS4.
But they're really chasing power, and I think...
Because I remember when they first came out in the UK, when those orders came out...
It was a bit more expensive than the PS4. Not 100 quid more expensive.
It wasn't for long, though. I remember it shooting down eventually. So the PS4... Because when I bought a PS4 pre-order on release, it came out... want to say end of September, start of October 2013.
I think I paid less
Yeah,
than
but-
$200 for mine with a game.
That's not bad. So it was like a starter's deal or something.
I got Last of Us remastered with it. So.
Ooh, nice. I think I
And
paid...
Wolfenstein, actually.
I think I paid just a bit more because I bought a second controller and Infamous Second Son
Yes.
as a bundle. And I think mine came to like 200... No, hang on. It came to something like...
Mine was sub 300, I think.
I think mine was something like 325 quid, something like that.
Like 450.
But not that long
lot.
after that. I remember the Xbox One going down to like 275. And I was thinking, oh wow, that's okay.
Well, they took the Kinect out.
That was it, of course. Yeah, there was less equipment in the box.
Oh, they did a price drop, and then they brought it out without the Kinect.
Yeah. Oh god, which would have been cheaper anyway.
Because the One S and the One X don't come with Kinect. In fact, they don't even have the port to plug Kinect in.
That's embarrassing.
You have to have a USB adapter.
That is
if you want to use your Kinect.
Embarrassing. That's them going, we fucked up. So here you go. But obviously, like if you buy an early Xbox One game, there's some features you're not going to be able to utilise.
Although it is vastly more powerful and the game's going to look better. I'm getting the same feeling with the Xbox One X that I got with the PS4 Pro. Is like, who is this for? Are you going to pay for a full price console for a graphical upgrade if you haven't already got a 4K TV?
That's the thing, because like with Sony, for example,
Sony have
a massive stake in it. PS4 Pro doesn't play 4K Blu-rays.
No. It'll play 4K.
Do you know what's really weird about that?
But it won't play UHD
I've got
Blu-rays.
normal PS4 and it plays 4K Blu-rays. Like it doesn't play them obviously in glorious 4K because I don't have like a 4K TV. But it can play them. Do you know what I mean? Like there they are, they're in, they're playing.
The UHD ones in the black cases.
Yeah, I've got because they started bringing them out without the big black cases originally. Now they do that as a line.
Difference. There's mastered in 4K.
Right.
And these actual 4K Blu-rays which are in black cases.
Because my Ghostbusters 1 and 2 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 are 4K.
They remastered in 4K. They're not 4K.
Okay, so that's why they play then.
Yeah,
all right, fair.
They're remastered in 4K, but they're Blu-rays.
Because I was looking at like bundles for a while. I've been pricing up PS4s and everything for ages, like hoping to get, but it's like a newer one. Because since having the original, like we've been talking about this before we recorded. We're both getting this hideous dragon purr when we're playing Injustice 2.
When I'm playing Injustice,
Injustice 2 and Uncharted 4 in particular.
Oh yeah,
the machine roars.
Yeah. And I've got an extra fan on mine as well.
Yeah, so it's and it's probably fine. We never play games to a dangerous length of time.
It's not vapor. Well, I do. It's not vapor cooled. That's the problem.
It's not vaping.
It's not vape cooled.
Vape Nation. Vape Nation. PlayStation.
No, I think the Xbox One X.
PlayStation.
The Xbox One X is a cool thing, but it's just like it's a lot of money to drop on an upgrade. But
agreed.
If I have the money, maybe I will get an Xbox One.
They should sweeten that pie a little bit. They should make it so that if you buy it, with it, you instantly get 3 downloads on your live account of like 3 current games. Do you know what I mean? There's just something to make the pie sweeter.
Launching is they're expanding their backwards compatibility to now support the original Xbox as well as the Xbox 360.
Is this in the X? We'll have this,
and the One X. So the One.
That's what I'm saying. The One X will have this backwards compatibility.
Well, and the One X is the same console, but more powerful, like the PS4 Pro is to the PS4.
Right, okay.
So all Xbox One games will have to work on both.
Yeah.
But on the Xbox One X,
a
lot of games will run in 4K, native 4K. So not upscale to 4K like the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
But in native 4K.
Okay. So unless you have a 4K television, it's not going to make a difference.
But they're also saying that it's super samples, so it will look better on a 1080p TV as well.
Okay, right. So it's like a compromise. It's like you either spend a few grand on a 4K TV, or if you've already got a decent TV but it's not 4K, we will make it look as the best that it can for your television.
Yeah. And the performance boosts for the PS4 Pro have been hit and miss from what I've seen.
Right.
Whereas everything that's coming out... So the scuttlebutt when the PS4 Pro came out was the developers were just like...
What, sorry?
It's not like it wasn't a big enough bump in power for them to get excited about.
Yeah.
Whereas when it was codenamed the Scorpio, it's now the Xbox One X.
Scorpio.
The developers were getting legitimately excited about it because it is a fucking beefcake of a machine. Like the start of that press conference was them just going, "We've got this much RAM, and we do this many teraflops, and we do this many bits of processing, and we do this much." They were just literally wanking over numbers. It was really ridiculous. But
we cut now live to the Xbox One X press conference.
The teraflops! But, you know, for all the mocking, it looks like a really, really fucking powerful console. The thing is, and it's still going to be cheaper to get into the Xbox One X than it is to buy a gaming rig.
Yeah.
A big PC gaming rig. So, but but as well as expanding the backwards compatibility, they're also launching a subscription game service. So you can get access to the 360 and Xbox One back catalogues.
Yeah.
So not newer games.
But the complete wealth of games that they'll put on there, basically.
Yeah, it's launching with over 100
which is appealing
games.
to obviously hardcore gamers, because it's like, do you want to pop down to like, a media shop? Do you want to pop down to a CX or like, an HMV? Or do you want to sit here, go, oh god, I never played that, search it, and go, oh shit, here it is, download.
It's like Xbox One. It's
is that the next one up?
It's like older Xbox.
Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and Xbox One.
It's Xbox
paste.
It's like older Xbox One games and
ask your older brothers and sisters.
A big deep Xbox 360 back catalogue.
Yeah,
that's backwards compatible. It's like $10 a month or something. It's an open beta at the moment. I'm not sure if it's over in the UK yet. It's called the Xbox Game Pass. Unlike PlayStation Now, you don't stream them, you download them to the console.
Shit, okay. So you've got them.
It will have that. So you can subscribe, so you can get one of these, get a subscription to that, play some of the... You won't get the newer 4K stuff, but if you've not got an Xbox, boom, you've got instant access to all the 360 back catalogue and whatever the Xbox One game. I think in terms of Xbox One games, it's launching with stuff like Forza 5 and Halo 5 and Master Chief Collection and shit like older Xbox One stuff.
But what's seen as sort of like the essentials for the console, because it's like, these are the games we launched with.
Well, I don't know. But it's launching with over... You're going to get access to over 100 games.
So that's not bad at all.
For a subscription. Really. I mean, I'm still toying with the idea of fucking with PlayStation Now, just so I don't have to play stuff on my PS3 all the time. Yeah. Although the thing that's turning me off about that is if I do play something on PlayStation Now, I can't transfer my save data across from my actual PS3.
Yeah, especially when you worked hard, grinded at certain games, you don't want to lose it completely.
So, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. And Sony are turning around and saying, "Oh yeah, we're not going to do any more backwards compatibility because people don't use it," which is bullshit because people do use it on the Xbox. So much. So,
I mean, that'd be a selling point for me for a console.
Much so.
Like, for example, I've just bought in a bundle as part of the Sony Days of Play thing.
Yeah,
I've just bought a new PS4 Slim. Because I just wanted to, make sure the older machine doesn't conk out too much. I can do my footage capture and streaming in another room and everything. I was like, oh great, it was like £200 for a bundle with the brand new Tekken Deluxe Edition. Yeah. So the PlayStation itself is like £124 of that cost. So I was like, awesome. That's amazing. So I picked that up. If you said to me, if you pick up the PS4 Pro, which was also on a sale, but even on sale it was like £340.
Yeah.
And that was on its own. If you said to me, the PS4 Pro... Yes, it's much more, but guess what? It plays PS1, PS2, and PS3 discs.
Yeah.
I would have gone, fuck it. I would put some extra money in and buy that because that will play my entire library.
PS3 is really tricky to emulate because of the cell processor in your PS3. They fucked it. That's why it was a pain to program for. That's why a lot of games that were multi-platform in that generation, some of them run worse on PS3.
Yeah, like Skyrim.
Fucking hell, Skyrim's unplayable. But there is no reason why you couldn't just do straight up software emulation for disc-based you did straight up software emulation for disc-based PS1 games on the PS3. There's no reason the PS4 can't do it. Yeah. It's already coded into the PS4 because you can buy PS2 classics from the PSN store. Yeah. The way backwards compatibility isn't re-releases on the Xbox One. You can just put a fucking 360 disc in if it's compatible.
Yeah. And play
It'll download the digital version of the game, and you'll have to keep the disc in to play it. It won't run off the disc,
which is fine because it's the same as putting the disc in and playing the game. If you've got the disc,
you can fucking bang it in. If you bought it digitally on the Xbox 360, it carries over to the Xbox One if it's compatible.
Yeah,
like there's no reason that Sony can't get behind that. They just don't want to spend the money, and I think that the hearts and minds battle they kind of won at the start of this generation with all the decisions they made on the PS4, I think they're losing that ground very quickly.
I remember there was talk about it early on of like, oh, we're looking into backwards compatibility and this, that and the other, but I think what they meant was, we're going to do a thing called PlayStation Now.
Yeah,
And it's like, that's not the same, guys.
I think I might try PlayStation Now when I get home, actually.
Give it a go. Like, give it a try, because I've not tried it yet, mostly because when I first saw it, I was like, what games have they got? They got the GTAs. Oh, well, I've got some birthday vouchers. This was last January, and I was like, I could just buy the PS2 GTA trilogy now with these vouchers, while they're also on sale for 25 quid.
I think if it had PS2...
So I did. So instead of spending 12 quid every month and trying to work my way through 3, Vice City and San Andreas, I instead bought them for 25 quid and can play them whenever I freaking want.
I think if it had PS2 and PS1 stuff on there, I'd be all over it. Oh, man. But it's just PS3.
That was one of the beautiful things. One of the beautiful things about the PS3 for me, one of my favourite things about it when I got it back in 2007, was the fact that it also played PS1 discs.
Yeah.
I was so happy, because there was my PS2 next to it. Like, I've got my PS2 on my unit, and I've got my PS3. I can play my PS2 games on that, but PS3 on that, I can play my PS1 on either of them. As long as I don't mind starting a new save file on the PlayStation 3, I can play it.
I used to have a memory card adapter.
Yeah, I remember those. I never got them myself. I think it's because I was just like, if I want to play my memory, I'll play it on the PS2. But
I also used to have a backwards compatible PS3, so...
Yeah, because one of the first ones, wasn't it?
The very first... There was a couple of models in the States, because they had a different launch. But over here, the original 60 gig launch model was backwards compatible with PS2 games.
That was it, wasn't it? It was the 60 gig, and then there was like 120 gig, which wasn't backwards compatible, but obviously the bonus there was you had more memory on that one for your games.
Gigs.
40. Oh, was it less?
Yeah, it was 40.
Okay, for some reason I remember it being more.
Because it was so expensive, they released a 40 gig, which had no backwards compatibility and 2 less USB ports, and none of the cards. So, on the original, under that flap, there was a bunch of like SD card readers and shit.
I remember that, because it was still in the instructions of mine.
Yeah. And I
got the 40 gig one, and it was still in the instructions of mine. I remember spending a day trying to open that hatch and not being able to do it, and then eventually I thought to myself, I'm not going to risk this, because if it's not opening, it's probably not.
Yeah, no.
But the instruction booklet still had it in, because I guess it
was just like a flat, and it was kind of sort of translucent plastic, like the original 6-axis was.
Yeah,
so you could sort of see through it. Remember, you held the 6-axis up to the light, and it was sort of.
I remember.
And then you were like, "This is shit. I'm getting a DualShock 3."
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking too much about video games. We'll touch one more before we move on to the mummy.
We're going to touch it.
And that's Battlefront 2.
Oh, yes, Star Wars Battlefront 2. So, gameplay trailer, as
really
they called
good.
it, or as I like to call it,
Well,
sort of gameplay.
Did you watch the EA press conference?
I didn't watch the whole conference, no.
They had a big section on Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
And basically got a bunch of people together, and they played the feed level.
Okay.
Match. They played a match on the feed level with some commentary.
Okay.
And it looks fucking great. It's got more class-based. It's more class-based.
Well, I think
there's new heroes.
From what I've seen, it reminds me more now of Battlefront 2, like the PS2 game, where it was like they took the concept to number 1 and they just expanded it, and there was more stuff you could play with, and obviously more classic characters that you could play as.
It looks like they've done that.
I really like the trailer at the beginning. I like the fact you see, like in one of the shuttles, in one of the carriers, the First Order stormtroopers, and then it just switches to a shot of the Imperial stormtroopers, and Vader's walking past at the edge of shot in the corridor from New Hope, and then it flashes back and it's the clone troopers, and I was like, oh shit, this now feels like the original Battlefront games, because they're going, we're covering everything. I mean, like I said, Battlefront, we had a love-hate relationship with that game in the sense that we hated it as much as everyone should, because there were big fucking problems with that game's existence and what it did and what it tried to get away with and what it did get away with. But we sort of escaped that because I waited for it to go down to a tenner at my local supermarket. And for a tenner online multiplayer shooter, not bad at all.
Also,
pretty gorgeous for a tenner. Not egregious for a tenner. And then I spent, in a sale, $8.99 and got all the extra maps.
In Battlefront 2,
I spent a total of 18 quid.
The DLC will be in seasons.
Yes.
And it will be free.
Oh, didn't know that. 1 second.
The game will have microtransactions.
Just pound in it. Okay, but you
so
don't
need...
need...
it'll be a full-price game that has microtransactions.
But you don't need...
We don't know the extent of the microtransactions yet.
Fair play.
But the DLC will be free. It will start with Last Jedi stuff in November. Including... Finn
it's a build-up to Last Jedi, then?
As a hero.
Nice.
And I think Kylo Ren's already in it. Someone else as a hero.
It might be the new character. I can't remember her name, but there's new character.
I can't remember. But Finn, and maybe it's Kylo Ren.
Could be Phasma if it's a villain. If they're doing hero and villain. Because that's the thing in the trailer as well. I mean, let's be honest. That the trailer has that beautiful moment where, like, it's the battle droids. And I'll be honest, I was like, I shouldn't be excited to see them, but it's kind of cool to know they're here because, again, it reminded me of playing Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2.
The problem with
seeing
those
the battle droids,
movies,
I was like, oh, it's this. I'm feeling that vibe again from the PS2 game.
The problem with those prequel movies is not the designs.
No, oh god, no, it's beautifully designed.
Yeah, the problem is the shitty scripts.
Yeah, and
so
terrible
I will
direction.
quite happily play a shooter that's got battle droids
Lou and I were
and
watching
fucking
it.
clone troopers in it.
Lou and
Not
I
a
were watching
problem.
it, and we were sort of both clearly like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then you heard the Roger. We both went, "Hey!" So like, it was obviously nice to see them. But that's cool. So they're thinking, and then like suddenly the I think it's not the battle droids, is it? It's the clone troopers for some reason, because obviously continuity-wise, it's all out the bloody window in a way with these things. But it's the fact that they stop, and then the double-bladed lightsaber just spins in like a boomerang, cuts two fools down, spins back, reveal shot, Darth Maul, and I was like.
Right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Darth Maul's still around.
Darth Maul's still... Well, he is, but not like that. He'll have big robot legs.
He does have robot legs.
So, originally spider legs, if I remember correctly, and then normal robot legs.
He's only bipedal,
Yeah.
but they're backward knee legs, like goat legs.
Yeah.
But I think he gets some change later on when he turns.
I think with this, I think continuity's out the window. I think it's more just a case of fantasy
Yeah.
play of... You're playing in the prequel
Yeah,
era.
multiplayer it is.
Here's Darth Maul as a character.
The campaign
Yeah.
is canon.
Okay, well, that's the other thing that makes this, like, a good again, because, oh my god, it has a campaign where you're playing as a female Imperial trooper.
Yeah. The actress who was playing the main character did the presentation at the press conference.
Oh, cool. All right, I'm going to have to catch up on
And she was
this.
pretty great. So
that's cool. It's like, you get to play a thingy, and it's carrying on sort of Star Wars' modern kind of mission statement of going, hey, guess what? You know those female leads you've not been getting?
have some more.
Have some more.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm so down with that, especially in terms of this game, because it's like, an Imperial officer is an Imperial troop or whatever. Like, she's your main character. It's like, it could have just been blank Stormtrooper again. It's like, no, let's put a bit more personality. Basically, you're going to get to play what you wish Jyn Erso had done in Rogue One. Yeah. Jyn's also in it, I believe. I think there's Rogue One stuff
Wouldn't
in
surprise
there.
me, yeah.
Because obviously that was part of that was the last DLC for the original,
yeah.
but I imagine that's in there. We know Kylo Ren's in it. We know Rey's in it.
They showed a bit
Boba
of
Fett's
Rey
definitely back because
Yeah.
he gets a glory shot and all that doesn't look like gameplay. I think that might be from the story campaign, maybe.
Possible.
Because the story's set during the original trilogy, isn't it? I believe
It's during the original trilogy and goes through to the new trilogy, I think.
Ooh, okay. But yeah, I'm interested. Again, I will do what I did last time. I will wait for the reviews. I will wait for the playthroughs before I decide whether or not to part with my hard-earned cash. But they're definitely on the right track this time. Mm-hmm. Well done, EA. Don't get complacent and be dicks.
Well, let's talk a bit more about female protagonists. There's this movie called The Mummy.
Oh.
In which the fantastic Sophia Boutella
she is fantastic,
stars as the titular mummy.
And she has real legs.
And yet Tom Cruise is the lead.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The Mummy is a movie, traditionally, that concept.
Yeah.
The Mummy is the villain. The Mummy is the antagonist. The Mummy is the thing that you're fighting. So, fair enough. Like, the person playing it isn't the poster name. They aren't the marquee name. But this isn't a horror movie, is it, Matt?
No.
At least, not in execution.
And let me tell you, the only thing I was fighting during this movie was sleep.
Give me a spoiler-free plot synopsis,
This
Matthew Watson.
movie is boring!
And that's why they fired you from the Blu-ray box design?
It's so boring!
When Matt photoshopped the spine of the cover
Tom
for the
Cruise.
pitch, he just wrote, "Don't waste your money."
Tom Cruise plays
Certificate 12.
Nick Sumcunt, who is an army guy who's sort of gone AWOL with his mate, who's played by that dude off New Girl. And they're running around the Middle East looking for antiquities, doing scare quotes, to sell on the black market. They're basically sort of the long distance recon, so they've kind of got a bit of independence from the army, but they're sort of AWOL.
So they're working for
Yeah.
the army, but they're going to bugger off and treasure hunt, unquote.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
A load of bollocks. Okay.
they come across this town and the fundamentalists are blowing it all. Look, that's the thing.
So where is this?
It's in Afghanistan, I think.
Okay, so we're talking sort of like modern day America's version of terrorist villains, like territory.
It's wherever they're at.
This isn't ancient Egypt,
But it's an ISIS. We'll get to that. But it's an ISIS thing that they do. Is like this
just flat out ISIS.
No, they don't say that in the film. But like,
Okay.
it's a thing that like, real life extremist groups in the Middle East was like destroy ancient
Got you.
monuments and things like that because whatever.
It's like our solution to ISIS: send in Tom Cruise.
But they go in there and they.
He'll do all of his own stuff.
And they call it an airstrike, and they get rid of these bad guys, and then they blow open a hole in the middle of the village. No, it's a fucking ancient tomb down there. This looks ancient Egyptian, but we're in Afghanistan. What's going on here? And then the army are like, oh, you ran away from us, and we're gonna get you, but first you have to go down in this hole with this archaeologist who you point to Nick to map off, and now there's sexual tension between you two, but so you have to go down in the hole and get the thing up, and then the Islamists, fundamentalists are coming back. We've got to go. Let's get the coffin from this pool of mercury. This isn't you have that moment where the woman, the archaeologist woman's talking to the camera. She's like, "This isn't a tomb. This is a prison." Which is like,
they didn't say that line.
Oh boy, did she say that line!
Christ.
And then again, about 2 minutes later, says, "This wasn't made to keep somebody out.
It was
this
made to keep somebody in." There we are. Bingo.
Both those lines in the same scene.
Is there a dramatic pause between each as the music swells?
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
It's so fucking predictable.
Why is this a movie?
And then they take the coffin, and then weird shit starts happening to take the coffin, and Tom Cruise's mate gets bitten and starts to go all funny. It's bitten by a camel spider, which aren't poisonous, but then he clearly been poisonous.
Yeah, I've heard that they swapped the camel spiders for the scarabs for camel spiders in this movie, basically. Yeah. The camel spiders that are sort of been proven to not be as monstrous as all the photos doing the rounds on the web show.
There are also
Scarabeels.
Well, the thing is, like, loads of fucking camel spiders come out and they swarm over everyone, and this guy gets bitten, and he starts shooting at them, and Tom Cruise is like, "They're just fucking camel spiders! Calm the fuck down! Don't worry about it! They're not even poisonous!" And he's like, and he turns out to he gets cursed.
Cursed by a camel spider?
Yeah, basically, because the mummy has powers over insects, and she...
I think they're actually arachnids.
And she creates a big sandstorm, and this sandstorm is chasing him across the desert as they're in this helicopter with the sarcophagus, and they get the sarcophagus onto a plane, and they take off through the sandstorm, and then the crash that you see in the trailer happens. That's not in the movie.
They've cut the screaming shot out.
They've cut
they've done that because they're like, we'll cut it because otherwise people will remember that trailer.
That moment and that descent. Yeah. I mean, that wasn't the final sound mix anyway.
Oh no, that was the problem, wasn't it? They put it out and then they went, "Oh shit!"
Not actually mixed it. But they've got that sequence from him like pushing her out of the plane and doing the parachute to his final descent. I have not watched it recently, so I could be wrong, but I think it's shortened in the movie from what it is in the trailer.
Yeah, I imagine they've done that on purpose because they don't want people to think back to that trailer.
Oh man!
So they'll guaranteed on the home release it will be the full version again. Like they'll go, "I'll put it back in now."
Man.
But when the reviews are coming out and that counts, they've gone, maybe don't harken back to that fuck what we did.
Maybe don't buy the home version. It's not going to sell, guys, because it's shit. By the way, all of this happens after we've already had an enormous Russell Crowe narrated flashback explaining the entire history of the titular mummy before we've even discovered her tomb in present day. So we know exactly what we're getting into before we meet any of the present day characters.
Which works in the 99 Mummy because that's the opening and then the first scene is a shootout at Hamunaptra.
Also,
so like you immediately go, "Oh, this is where it is today." Also, whereas in this movie they do that thing of, "I wonder what these adventurers are going to find."
In this movie,
I bet it's nothing to do with that flashback.
It's longer. And there's two.
What?
So there's one to the mummy's origin, which is longer.
Fuck?
And then there's another to like Knights Templars burying a dude with a crystal, and then that being excavated under London, and a newscast being like, they were building Crossrail and they found this old Templar tomb, and then Russell Crowe coming in and Red Letter Media took the piss out of this as well, where he comes in and takes over the site with his men from the construction crew, and you get the guy who comes up to him and goes, "You can't take this away, this is my site," and he literally, without even looking at him, pulls the letter out and just hands him a letter. It's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Alex Kurtzman directed this film.
Alex Kurtzman, who is one of the writing duo who write a bunch of stuff together. Into Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, Roberto Rossi and Alex Kurtzman, yeah.
Also the scripters, if I remember correctly, for Amazing Spider-Man 2. The guys who, when pressed in an interview, said, "Yeah, we have no idea where this story's going. They've just told us to do X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
And it's like, if you were good writers, you'd find a way to lay foundations for yourself at least. But no, you don't give a fuck. Is this his directorial debut?
Maybe.
Or at least in terms of a feature, maybe.
Maybe. Let me look it up while I'm talking. So then they end up in London. They end up in London while things are happening, and the mummy steals life from people and turns them into mummies. And it turns out
Wait, she turns people into mummies?
Yeah, like she
So
sucks
she takes like a good couple of hours per person to kill them,
No,
embalm them, take out their organs, wrap them in bandages,
because she's not.
bury them respectfully in a
That didn't get done
sarcophagus.
to her. Like she was, she. So basically, the whole thing is like she killed her family because she wanted to inherit the throne. But she made a deal with Set, who's
like basically Egyptian
he's the
god's
god
version of
he's
everything.
the god of death.
Yeah,
and then she kills her family, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm going to find a male host and put Set into him with this dagger with the thing with the magical gemstone in the hilt." And then
she gets to be a male host,
but she gets interrupted like mid coitus / ceremony,
right?
And gets wrapped. She gets mummified alive, which means wrapped in bandages and chucked in a box. And then buried.
So not mummified then.
Yeah,
that's not being a mummy. Putting toilet roll around somebody doesn't make them a mummy.
Buried in Afghanistan, far away from Egypt, because she did such a sacrilegious thing, which is why they find her in Afghanistan.
Right.
So
nice. They're like, you're not good enough for the Holy Land of our kings.
Yes.
Like, okay.
So now she comes up and she kisses people and she sucks the life out of them, and then get all raisiny and she gets more human.
Okay, which is similar to what happens in
Ted,
but in his case, it's more a case of he just sort of sucks it out of the air, off of their bones. Like you see that guy's silhouette as he twirls around in the air, and he's clearly shrinking.
But
of course they've gone sexy mummy. Let's have a kiss on everybody.
But then she's like, they don't really use her as much. Like Sophia Botella plays the shit out of it.
Yeah, a couple of reviews I read said that if this were a horror movie version of the Mummy, she would be hands down. People will be talking for decades about how terrifying her performance is. But because it's in this film, it's lit wrong, it's shot wrong, and it's not shown off properly.
Yeah, if this was a horror movie
by Alex Kurtzman, who's only directed one of the film, People Like Us.
Oh God. So this is a movie called The Mummy that's not interested in the mummy. It's a movie about monsters that isn't a horror movie. It's not scary.
To be fair.
There's a couple of interesting action set pieces in it, but they're not shot very well.
To be fair, The 99 Mummy isn't a horror movie. It's a romantic adventure film that's a comedy and has horror elements. But the difference is...
the horror elements are played properly.
They're played straight.
Yeah.
Like, completely straight. In this, it sounds like they're sort of played more... Oh my God, can you believe this is happening? Look at this! Let's just dive into spoiler territory.
Yeah, because that's where it gets... Because then I can really shit on the movie, and that's where it gets interesting.
I'm going to ask you some questions. Fill in gaps.
Ask me some questions.
What the fuck is prodigium?
So...
Is that what it's called? Prodigium?
Prodigium. Which is from some Latin phrase that Russell Crowe intones that means a warning.
Hello, Tom Cruise, I'm here to talk to you about prodigium.
That means
I'm here to talk to you about the Prodigium Initiative.
A warning against monsters.
Right.
Sure. Okay. And there's jars of samples, like, there's a vampire skull in a glass case, and there's a creature from the Black Lagoon arm in a specimen jar, and the Dr. Jekyll, because Russell Crowe's playing Dr. Henry Jekyll.
Yeah, which the film marketing thought we'd forgotten about, but when they did their initial press releases, we talked about this a few episodes ago, when they did their press releases, they were like, and Russell Crowe's playing Dr. Jekyll. And it's like, yeah, we're going to remember that.
Yeah.
Because that's a very significant character in horror storytelling.
I don't think they name him in the trailers.
No, they've played it in a way where they're like, in interviews as a press release, they said, like, you play a very special character, you play the head of an organization. Like, they don't give it away too much. But it's like, announced it back in the day. We know you're Dr. Jekyll because you fucking announced it. 'Cause you can't help yourselves, you bastards.
Yeah. So the archaeologist that Tom Cruise boinked and nicked the map off was already looking for this site, which is how he got the map in.
Does she fit the usual tradition of Tom Cruise leading ladies?
She's about 15 to 20 years younger than him and has nothing to do in the film, so yes.
Yeah, okay. So, an actor who basically... I hope she had a nice time filming this. I hope she got paid well. I hope she manages to get better projects.
They spent $125 million on this movie.
Yeah, and it made... $30 million
does not look like
domestic.
they spent $125 million on this movie. They put a lot of money on it, and it looks cheap.
And that's budget of the movie, not budget of the movie and marketing.
Yeah.
In the States alone, over this past weekend, it's only made $30 million.
It's not very good.
It is a massive flop. Now, partly word of mouth from early previews.
Yeah.
Partly because people are going to see Wonder Woman because word of mouth from the weekend before has made everyone go, oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, shit.
God, go and see Wonder Woman again.
Yeah.
Don't go and see this. I only saw this because I have a Limitless card. I didn't have to pay for this. So I went and watched it, and it's shit.
Matt will stroll past the cinema, think, I've got 2 hours to kill, and go watch Peppa Pig, my first movie, because he's got a Limitless card.
Why not? It's better than this shit.
Do you know what I used my Limitless card for this week?
What?
See Guardians of the Galaxy 2 for a third time.
Exactly. That's what you should use it for.
Yeah.
Don't go and see this. I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to tell you more reasons why you shouldn't see this.
I'm tempted to see it now because I won't spend any extra money on it because I'm limitless.
If you go and
I'd
see
rather
this,
not rent it.
If you go and see this, we should go and see it on a day when it's empty, so we can shit talk it while we're watching it.
So we can Mystery Science Theatre it the entire
time. Only way it's going to be
can
fun.
we sit on the front row slightly to the right?
Oh God! So right. So they invoke and directly reference an American Werewolf in London.
I've heard about this. Go for it.
Tom Cruise's mate who gets bitten by the spider and then stabs his CO on the plane and he causes doesn't cause a crash, but then Tom Cruise shoots him dead in the cargo hold, and then a flock of birds come and strike the plane, and that's what sends him down. He appears to Tom Cruise as trying to guide him on his way, because the whole thing is that Amonette has chosen Tom Cruise as her host for sets. So she's got to get the gemstone and put it in the dagger that's in another place, and then she's got to get him, and then she's got to stab him with the dagger while she rides him like a pony to get set into him.
So she has to... What? When you say ride him like a pony, she's got a shag set into
No, she's just straddled him, so it just looks like
okay.
They sexualise it, but it's not.
They sexualise her... I've seen that preview clip where she's sort of being held in Prodigium's thingy, it's yeah, you don't need to have a bent like that.
She's there for way too long.
Yeah, it's you've done this because you're she's attractive.
There's
Let's stick her ass
because what they're doing is they're...
To be fair, it's still not as bondage heavy as Mads Mikkelsen and Doctor Strange.
No.
Because that's weird.
Pretty great.
It's a comedy beat, and then you spend the next 3 minutes going, he's acting his socks off, but I'm too busy laughing at the fact that he could be spanked.
Spanky.
It's what is it? What is this ancient artifact for? Well.
No, what they do? So
by the hoary hosts of Hogarth.
So what happens when they first find the tomb / prison? This is not a tomb; it's a prison. There's mercury.
So trying to keep people out.
It's trying to keep someone in. Yeah. So there's mercury dripping from the ceiling, and then they find the tomb by mercury from the ceiling into reservoirs, into canals, and then there's a big pool of mercury in the middle of the thing with chains holding something in, and then Tom Cruise shoots the thing and he pulls the sarcophagus out of the pool of mercury. The whole idea being that mercury wards off evil spirits. So what they're doing in those scenes where she's tied up is they're pumping mercury into her, and then they're going to freeze her.
Oh.
To try and contain her.
I mean, some cool ideas here from what you're describing. But it's just
there are some interesting ideas in this movie.
Do you think
it's a fucking mess?
Do you think this would have made a better comic book?
No.
No, okay.
Not particularly.
Okay. Because it sort of sounds to me like sort of, the Dark Horse, IDW kind of...
Yeah, maybe. But it's completely humourless.
So kind of like some of the Dark Horse...
Tom Cruise is incredibly miscast. Russell Crowe clearly doesn't give a fuck, and he's having a great time, and he's one of the most enjoyable things in the movie.
Does he hide out?
He does hide out. So, right, basically...
Because of course he does. You don't put Dr. Jekyll in the movie and not have him turn to Mr. Hyde.
When he's being Dr. Jekyll, it's Russell Crowe doing the first Doctor.
Oh, boy!
He's quite quaint and British, and he's got a twinkle in his eye, but he's clearly quite mischievous and probably has a dark secret to hide. And then he hides out at when he fails to take his serum at one point, and he hides out.
Of course he does.
And he goes toe to toe with Tom Cruise, and he's like, he turns into Ray Winston. Russell Crowe doing Ray Winston.
Right.
Your old pal, Eddie Hyde, I've got a better deal. Don't listen to Henry. He'll try and destroy you. I'll do a deal with you and be evil.
Now that works if Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was a story told when it should be in the Victorian era, because then it becomes that whole thing of the Cockney gangster kind of thing.
It's not made clear whether he's eccentric or he is that old.
Yeah.
It's never made clear.
That's what I'm saying. If they made a suggestion of, he's been around for, in that moment when you have Hyde come out and be like, oh my god, how long has it been? 50, 60 years?
Yeah.
You could have that would be intriguing, because then you are sowing a seed that might make people go, oh, I'll watch another movie just to see more about that.
When you first go into his office, there's a medical chair with restraints on it, and there's a hand scanner, and there's big huge fucking metal locking doors.
Yeah.
Which you then later find out is is not to keep people out, it's to keep him in when he hides out.
Let me guess, he can only access the panels only work when he's Jekyll.
Yep.
Not when he's Hyde. In the same way Stephen Moffat's Jekyll show had the whole thing of like, yeah, the original Dr. Jekyll didn't have any children. So how could he have descendants? And it's like, because in an episode you're going to reveal the twist that Hyde had the children. Yes. That's what you're going to reveal. Don't fucking play with us like stupid. But it's very clever.
You do get that moment where Tom Cruise tries to put Hyde's hand on the scanner and it doesn't work.
Right.
And Hyde's like, yeah, they won't let me out, and then smashes Tom Cruise's face into the hand scanner repeatedly, which is quite nice. And you very briefly see...
And does he go, ah!
Yeah,
ah!
yeah. As the love interest is trying to get in and help him, you see her, she picks up and drops the Book of Amun-Ra from the original Mummy.
Wait, the original Mummy or the previous
the previous original Mummy? Sorry, not the original Mummy.
Cinematic universe.
So basically, where this movie goes is
nowhere.
Right.
For a wank.
So what they do is they try. Amunet breaks free, and she's like, "I'm gonna get you, Tom Cruise. I'm gonna make you into a bad person."
I wish that was the dialogue.
And then
I'm gonna get you, Thomas Cruise.
There's a whole chase through like the subways of London, where all these Templar tombs are.
Oh,
because apparently Templars had something to do with this as well. Then she turns them into undead minions, and there's a whole underwater swimming chase scene, and the love interest gets drowned. So Tom Cruise is like, oh, I'm going to let myself become Set because I'll have power over life and death. So he lets himself become Set, kills Amunet, resurrects her, and then goes off into the distance and sequels to try and...
That's the pin they put in it?
Yeah. Like, he brings his mate back to life as well.
Oh, his slowly decomposing rip-off of a better film mate?
Yeah.
When you said that a minute ago, I couldn't believe that it was that. But I'd seen people say there's an American Werewolf in London thing that they've nicked. I was like, I wonder what it could be. It's just flat out like, oh my god.
He brings him back to life proper.
Does he decompose?
No. He's getting poisoned. He becomes paler and like the black veins like sort of spread over his face and stuff.
So sort of like he's looking worse every time.
He does look worse every time, but he's not like. But when he brings him back, like,
God, I want to watch that movie now.
So he brings it, and then, like, literally ends them, like, riding off into the desert sands, the pair of them, and he's gonna look, and Russell Crowe's in a voiceover, like, he's gonna look for a way to uncurse himself, but we might need to turn to him for help against monsters, because the only way to kill a monster is with a
Come back for the sequel! Come back for the sequel! We're gonna do another film! Come back for the sequel! That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah,
right?
basically.
The voiceover saying there's gonna be more.
Yeah.
There's gonna be... You know, do you remember in 2008? Cast your mind back to 2008.
Oh, God.
9 years ago.
Cast your mind.
Do you remember when Iron Man ended? The final scene, he's there in the press conference, and he says, like, so the truth is that... and he looks at his pre-prepared statement, and he looks up at all the press there who are waiting for an answer. They want to know who was this mysterious metal guy who, like, fought off Obadiah Stane in the big armour in Stark Industries. Like, who was that? Like, we seriously believe that Tony Stark goes away, then comes back, and there's this metal guy, and he knows nothing about it. What's it about? What's it going to be about? He looks down at his pre-prepared statement. He realises what the right thing to do is. He gazes out, and he goes, come back next year, because we're going to do 3 or 4 more films. Come back and watch all the other films. You're going to watch all the other films, right? It's going to be great. Oh, by the way, I might be in them. Oh, I definitely will be. You should come back and watch them. You enjoyed this, right? Come and see it.
I love the ending of the original Iron Man, because it's just the way he goes, I'm Iron Man. The press erupts, and then it smash cuts to credits. It's fucking brilliant.
It's amazing. I rewatched that the other night as well.
It's really good.
But then after the credits, you get this tiny little button.
And it's just...
that basically says, we may do another film, and if we do, this could play into it.
The Avengers Initiative.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
It sounds
gives
cool.
it a sense of the larger world.
Yeah. Another thing that Marvel do, apart from the movies where the characters cross, is the movies without the characters that aren't crossovers are movies of their own. They are stories of their own. They are self-contained. Apart from the Avengers flicks and Civil War, they are completely within their own world. You could watch that movie on its own, not knowing anything, and really enjoy it as a story. This sounds like they've gone, right, part 1. How do we do part 1? Have we written part 2 yet? No! Right, but we want to let people know that it's coming.
But they've got to start shooting it soon, because it's Bride of Frankenstein with Javier Bardem as the monster.
Bride of Frankenstein is the second one in... I'm guessing.
They've also cast Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man.
Yeah, well, it's probably the best role.
I'm not sure how he's going to play into it, but that's what he's doing.
It's the safest role to give him right now, to be honest. That means he's also the villain in 2 different big franchises.
Yeah.
That is really weird. Oh, Christ.
Well, we'll go from this into... Well, I think we'll only do this one email this week just because we're running short on time and your laptop's literally about to die.
Yeah, big heads up, everybody. We're gonna do a big catch-up on emails next week because next week is very important, boys and girls. Next week is our 52nd episode. It's the end of a year of Big Damn Cast. I mean, it's a perfect place for the finale, really, if you think about it.
What, we're not doing any more of these?
No, we are going to do it.
Oh.
But, how'd you go in there for a second? We've got plans, Matthew. We ain't stopping it. We've got plans.
Got big plans.
You are my number one. Die! Meanwhile, Jack Palance is like, fuck you. That's not how I did it. Next week marks a year's worth of episodes of Big Damn Cast. Technically, the year anniversary would be episode 53, I suppose. But 52 seems like a good place to put a button in it. So, if you've been listening the entire time, if you joined us midway through the run, if this is your first episode, whatever it is, we want to know what your favourite Big Damn moments have been. Just keep it short and sweet. Let us know what your favourite moments have been. Tell us about it next week. I guarantee, considering our memories are like sieves with sieves in them,
I literally can't remember what we talked about last week.
What did we talk about at the start of this episode? I think it was something... I think it was a joke about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
I can't remember. But we're going to... camel spiders or something? We'll probably have figured out our favourite moment. I think
They're not even poisonous.
I think I know what my favourite Big Damn Cast moment is, actually. I'll bring it up next week. But,
okay.
We want to know what your favourite Big Damn Cast moment has been, because there are a bunch of you who listened from the beginning, there are a bunch who've joined us recently. So please do let us know. And we look forward to reading your emails out next week while we wax lyrical. And probably wank.
And wax each other. Backs.
Back is the nickname for my penis.
But before we get into that, let's get to the... We're going to take this one email this week.
We're going to take it hard.
Just for time.
We're going to take it hard.
This is from your friend and mine, and all of yours, Charlie DeMiller.
Charlie is a magic man.
He says...
Charlie's part fish and part squirrel. He's
says,
not, but I just want to give you all a mental image.
He says, Buenos dias, senors! And now I'm going to do the entirety of your email in a cod Mexican accent. Thank you, Charles. By now, the dust has settled on Universal's first foray onto the universe-building racket. So very little success, it seems. You couldn't pay me to go and see it myself, but the consensus has been somewhat negative, to say the least. Now,
translation. The mummy's out. I'm not too keen on seeing it myself.
Now, I realize that the film business is just that, a business, and the financial implications of creating a franchise that people need to go and see in order to understand a larger narrative must be too tempting for Hollywood executive types to ignore. However, therein lies the issue, as I think you'll agree. Creating a whole slate of films based on their potential revenue as opposed to creating an engaging series of long and short-form plots that flow and weave together over a series of films, as Marvel seems to be the only studio capable of doing, you end up with cynical cash grabs who crumble under the weight of their own meta-narrative and focus on world building.
Cinematic universes make bank, don't they? Yeah. Should we plan it? Nah. Let's see what happens.
Now, I ask you both.
I have a question for you.
What are your thoughts on said dark universe? Do you think it can recover? What would you want it to even do if it could? What would you do to get it back on track? As always, my darlings, smooches, Charles. P.S. Be a dear and do please answer my venom-related text to Chris, this swine. Question from a few weeks ago if you haven't already. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. That was... I don't know. That started Mexican.
Translated.
I don't know where that went.
Translated. Do you remember Dracula Untold? Love, Charles. P.S. Chris, is a question you forgot to ask. That's true.
What are your thoughts on said dark universe? Do you think it can recover? Would you want it to, even if it could? What would you do to get it back on track?
Right. I don't think it can recover in at least terms of reputation.
I think
but anything's possible. I mean, we're 4 films into the DCEU and we finally saw one that we thought was good. So it's possible. Bride of Frankenstein could turn out to be amazing.
They may be able to turn it around. And they're going to make Bride of Frankenstein, I think, because I think they're committed now.
Yeah.
They'll at least try and push one out to course correct.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll land.
Like any good pregnancy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that last baby was shit. Let's have another one.
Push it out. This one might be better. So, yes, I think it could recover if they do make a really good Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
What I want to... Yeah, I don't mind the idea of a shared monster universe. I don't think the whole prodigium framing device of, like, this monster hunting society makes particular sense. I don't think you can front load exposition in the way that this movie did and expect it to be good. I think I think DC made that mistake with Batman vs Superman of having Man of Steel fairly isolated and standalone and then dumping a bunch of stuff onto it. I think the Marvel way was more gradual, But Iron Man 2 certainly did suffer from having some exposition dumped into it. But you needed that to get to Avengers. So, at some point you have to do it, but you have to choose your times carefully. And, like, opening this movie with a huge fucking exposition flashback, and then another exposition flashback, and then the start of the movie, and then having multiple people explain the things that have already happened in the flashback throughout the film. They keep explaining the plot to you over and over again. Keek said it wonderfully. She was like, this movie thinks it's more complicated than it is. Yeah. But then I was also listening to the Weekly Planet today, and then, was it the Weekly Planet? No, it was Red Letter Media's review of it, and they were saying, like, it broke new ground! ATSTs! I'm gonna come! The reason that they take so long to explain the plot.
Hi, we're Big Dumbcast. How you doing?
Is probably because the places they're going to push this the hardest are places where people don't speak English. And we've had this before when Bret Easton Ellis was talking about that he heard a rumour that he'd heard from people who were working on the Batman script that the studio wasn't bothered about fixing the problems because half the people who see the movie aren't going to be speaking English anyway. It's like
they're just going to be looking at the pretty visuals.
Yeah, they're pushing these movies overseas and hoping they do well in places like China.
China's currently like the biggest draw in terms of box office nowadays.
But will
they even show the Mummy? Because China has a really big thing on the afterlife.
They're weird about ghosts and skeletons and stuff like that. So probably not.
In the words of Red Letter Media, you'll never see Ghostbusters because your communist government thinks it's witchcraft.
Yes,
which was such a really brilliantly worded phrase.
But I think they can recover from it, but I think they need to take a long, hard look at what worked with this, which wasn't very much, and what didn't work with it, which was most of it, and sort of just throw a lot of it out.
You know what they should have done? They should have the way they should have done this is they should have gone with the theory we had about like Tom Cruise being Van Helsing.
Yeah.
They should have been period pieces set around the late 1800s.
They also shouldn't have come
and just make every story like just do Dracula, the Mummy, Frankenstein. Do this, and you have one character who's tied into all. Make it Van Helsing. That's how you like have. Oh, I'm on the lookout for monsters.
They also shouldn't have it come in and have Prodigium be already established.
No,
you should have these incidents cause people to come together and found Prodigium. Rather than doing info dump.
Like Rise of the Planet of the Apes style, where it's like the first story gets the ball rolling.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
What can they do to fix it from this point?
Make a damn good second movie.
Yeah, make a really good second movie that actually... That's just a well-made movie. Like this, it's not so much the idea of a shared universe that sinks this movie, it's the execution. Yeah.
They've picked a topic that doesn't fit the genre that they're wanting to do as well. That doesn't help at all.
If they want to make... They just need to make fucking horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, make a shared universe of horror movies instead of another, like, sort of action-based, super-powered shared universe thing. Make them fucking horror movies.
Yeah.
Have your Monster Hunters, but make them horror movies.
I'm not looking forward to the scene, like, in 5 movies' time where Frankenstein's monster and super-powered Tom Cruise...
Yeah. Tom Cruise, who in the epilogue, is wearing, like, mummy wraps on his hand.
Why?
So I guess Tom Cruise is the mummy now?
Why is he wearing mummy wraps on his hand?
No.
Why would he wear mummy wraps
on his hand? I don't know.
Have his hands been embalmed? Has he had his organs taken out?
He's got like wooden...
Because you're not a mummy until you've had all the fucking organs
He's got like wooden splints on his fingers, which are then wrapped onto his fingers, and he's got wraps on his
Does it have a gratuitous shot where he sort of looks at it for a second and is like...
You see he's got his fingers in the sand in it, but then he's got his sort of Middle Eastern cape and headscarf on. But you only see his eyes. His face is all wrapped up. And then his mate's like, oh, thanks for bringing me back and all, but what are we doing? And he's like, come on, my friend, don't you have a sense of adventure? Like, he speaks in a way that he's not spoken in the entire movie up until that point, even after he's been possessed. So, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just make a horror movie, a good horror movie, and have it interlinked by overlapping characters, like the original Universal monsters were, rather than try and make it the Avengers of monsters. Like, just fucking...
Speaking of the Avengers of monsters making things into a horror film, following up on his Venom question, it was around the time the Tom Hardy news was announced.
Oh, yes.
We sort of covered like what we thought about that news at the time, but an interesting question he asked is, how would you go about making a Venom standalone What story would you want told, and do you think it should fit into a wider Sony Marvel whole? I think we sort of touched on like the direction they could take, but I think we were more worried about the fact that I
think you can do a standalone Venom movie,
Yeah.
but you have to have his origin tied to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I guess it wouldn't be... No, don't
Well,
make it
here's
Spider-Man movie,
what I recommend. I think I've said this much earlier as well. Like, we're talking early days, when we're talking early days of Big Dumb Cast.
When we did
the first part of
yeah.
Daniel Way's Venom, where it is basically the Thing with a symbiote.
Yeah.
Like, it's a research base. They've got hold of part of it, and you have references to, you know what they're holding in there, right? What? They got it. Venom. Like, what? The big spider guy? Shh. But they didn't get him. They got a piece of him. Like, what are you talking about? It's like they've taken, do you know what I mean? Like, do a movie on this is establishing this spin-off movie. Yeah, so like in this movie, Venom has met Spider-Man. If you want to tell that story later, do it. If you want to keep Venom to a Venom movie series, do it, but bring Spidey in for part 2. Do you know what I mean? And have it be like, oh yeah, no, we fought, you just haven't seen that adventure. Because we've all seen the origin of Venom in a movie before. Tell some different stories and let us know it's happened between films. But have that first film be establishing what the symbiote is capable of.
Yeah.
Like, show what that suit can do.
Because there's no
make
reason...
it a horror film, man. Make it a self-contained horror film stuck in a research base.
Without the Spider-Man connection, there's no reason for it to be called Venom.
Yep, that's true.
There's no reason for it to have the spider insignia and otherwise...
Spider powers.
So, if you want those... And those are big... No, those are parts of the character Venom.
Venom is bad guy, Funhouse Mirror Spider-Man.
Yes. If you want
that's who he is.
If you want those things in Venom, even if you want to do an Agent Venom, he still has those characteristics.
Yeah.
He's fucking called Venom.
Yeah.
2, he still has the spider logo and the spider powers. So you have to tie his origin.
You could retroactively do Agent Venom, though.
You
could have it so that
I would say,
the symbiotes have arrived on Earth. They've researched it. They found out a way to like tame it and turn it into like a combat suit. So you tell that story, obviously with a new character.
Yeah.
And by the end, but you have it cutting loose and becoming more feral as the movie goes on. And that's how you get your visuals of the teeth and the tongue and all that. And then by the end of the movie, they're like he has to burn it off himself, or whatever. It's like, oh my god, it's gone. Where is it? It's like, well, I guess we've seen the end of it. Set up for a Spider-Man story later.
Well,
you know it's out there, and so you wouldn't have it wall crawling and web slinging, but you could do all the other stuff like the tendrils and making stuff out of
what
goo.
I would do is I would do an Agent Venom standalone movie, and I'd have it be Flash Thompson, crippled in the war, volunteers for a program that'll give him back use of his legs, and it's the Agent Venom program.
Yeah.
So he has and it's like the original rule from the Rick Remender Venom run, right? So you can't wait for too long a period of time, or else it bond with him. So they tell him that they've reverse engineered it from like DNA samples they've taken from Spider-Man, and they've made it into this sort of biological suit.
Okay.
But it's actually the symbiote.
Shit.
Hang
on.
That Spider-Man's had briefly.
Oh, okay.
So they tell him it's one thing, and then he discovers through the course of wearing it and getting cut off on one of his missions and having to and not being able to go back to get the suit taken off. He discovers what it is while he's wearing it, and sort of has to fight to master the suit.
Can I tap into that sort of, but change it a bit?
Yeah.
Spidey hasn't worn it, but you tap into something the movies haven't done yet, which is who's Spider-Man's biggest fan? Flash Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
You give Flash Thompson a superpowered suit that gives him his legs back, a suit that can conjure anything.
That works. Yeah.
What do you think he's going to do? He's
going
to be like, oh my god, I wonder. Like he's going to make it look more like because all you have to do is like fill his locker with pictures of Spider-Man and newspaper clippings. It's like when you like that guy. He's like, he's my favourite thing ever.
When he does lose the symbiote, then it goes looking for Spider-Man
like him
because it's taken Flash's hero worship of Spider-Man, and has gone, yo, I want to be on that guy.
And you do it like the Toxin miniseries where you have dialogue between Flash and the symbiote.
Yeah.
So you have the symbiote be a voice.
So like the symbiote the symbiote comes to understand human culture and language through Flash's memories and experiences.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it becomes a warrior because it's seeing his horror. It gets his resentment of losing his legs.
And the way you do it is from, the suit's a symbiotic relationship. Whenever he talks wearing it from the start of the movie, you do what the animated series did, where it's like two voices. The effect is two voices.
Cross-mixed, yeah.
And at some point during that first mission where he's cut off and he's been in it for a bit longer than he's meant to, you have him talk. And then there's the two voices like talking together, and then the other voice keeps talking for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "What?" Because he's never really thought about it like that before. Yeah. He feels the physical symbiotic connection. He feels that the suit's responding to his thoughts,
and it gives him legs.
But then suddenly it's all. So it's like he's like, I don't know, he's talking doubly or whatever. He's like, he's trying to get in touch with him on the radio. So he's like, "Where are you? Like, where am I?" And the other voice goes, "Where am I? Where are we?" And he's like, the fuck?
It does the midnight thing and it starts mimicking him.
But then you start having dialogue between them. So it's like, and the suit doesn't have to necessarily be a vicious monster at first. It's just going back to its nature. It's been attached to him so long that it's not like, rah, I'm a parasite.
No, it
like
learns violence and hate from Flash and his experiences and the people that he's fighting. So you give him a real nasty villain.
Yeah.
To go up against, and the suit sees what that villain does and how it makes Flash feel.
Pull from Remender. Have a dude that has pillaged a shit ton of Oscorp tech, because I'm sure Oscorp will be introduced in some way in the Spider-Universe. A bunch pillaged and fiddled around with Oscorp tech. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just fucking do Jack-O-Lantern from the Remender series. Just do that. A dude who's flying around on a glider-like thing, Do that version of Jack-O-Lantern, because you can have a pumpkin head if you want or whatever, but obviously that version looks like a pumpkin because his face is so badly scarred up from their first big fight that he looks like his teeth are sort of like the pegs of the peg teeth of a pumpkin. Do that. That would be so freaking. There you go. You can have the best of both worlds. You can have introduce Venom through an adaptation of the reboot of that character from the late 2000s.
Even have his first mission be against the dude that later becomes Jack-O-Lantern.
I want to watch it. Yes, bitch!
Flash loses his shit.
Yeah.
And gives into his violent side and fucks this guy.
Oh, God, yeah.
That's where the symbiote gets its first taste of violence.
Yeah.
Then the Jack-O-Lantern guy gets an upgrade with some Oscorp tech from someone who wants to get even, and that's when they face off at the end.
Oh, my God.
Flash, at the end of the movie, Flash gives up the symbiote. He's like, no, I don't want any part of this, and then the symbiote escapes and goes after Spider-Man because it's like.
Well, I think that's the thing. You have a self-sacrifice moment. You have him where he's just gives himself to the flame. He decides to give up.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up.
I think that's.
And he's been out for 3 or 4 days, and he's like, "What the hell happened? I should be
picks
dead."
him up
And they've gone. We found you. He's like, "I leapt into flame," and they're like, "No, you leapt into it. It pulled you out. He's like, but I tried to kill it. Why am I alive?" And it's like, well, obviously it feels like it owes you one. Because it you know what I mean? It's become what it is because of what he's seen and the memories it's given it. And it's like, it's obviously saved you, but it ain't coming back. We've lost track of it.
But
we have no idea where it is. And then your post-credits, you're dead simple, your post-credits, a rainy night, New York City, you just cut to the New York City skyline, and as the shores washing up on the the edge of the thingy river, you just see the edge of the wave, where it's normally white and foamy, is just black and bubbly, and it just clings to the sand.
It clings to the sand. One tendril, one pseudopod, goes up, and it's sort of as it's sort of reaching towards the skyline, and you see the New York skyline in the distance. You just see Spidey swing
a red zip,
through
the. Oh shit! Boom!
So you tie his origin to Spider-Man without have to have had Spider-Man wear him, beforehand. Mm-hmm. So you still have that obsession and that.
Because then, if Venom does well, and you want to do your sequel, that's where you bring in Tom Hardy. You bring him in for number 2 if you want Eddie Brock, big beefcake thingy. Mm. In number 2, the Venom sequel is the symbiote on Spider-Man, paralleling with the Eddie Brock storyline. Then you get your old school 90s style big monster beefcake Venom. That's how you do that. They
should let us write these fucking scripts, Chris.
Oh, give us Venom. Give movie Bob Fantastic Four.
Oh, failing that, give us an Ultimate Universe.
Oh.
We'll do it.
Oh, yes, but we're getting the animated Spider-Man movie, aren't we? With Miles Morales as Spider-Man, so if you want to bring us on board. Thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get in touch during the week, you know the drill. BigDamnContact@gmail.com. Remember to let us know your favourite Big Damn Cast moments. Could be a Big Damn Love video, could be a podcast moment or whatever. Let us know for next week, which is our 1 year anniversary. Holy shit. 1 year since we sat down on your couch and talked about the problem with Harley Quinn.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. It's flown by.
It has flown by.
We'll be talking about that next week. Also, we'll be catching up on your emails. So don't worry if they've not been read out. We're going to get round to them. Not only that, you can hit us up Big Damn Cast on Twitter and the Big Damn channel on YouTube. We've got more Big Damn Love episodes still to come and a load of good shit. And we'll see you next week. That's it. Nothing more to talk about.
And since we've got Star Wars Battlefront 2 incoming imminently, I thought it was only fair to take a dip in the cheat bucket and bring you some hot tips for the classic Star Wars Super Bombad Racing.
Oh, shit.
So, for cheats, enter
question.
these codes at the main menu. After selecting the number of players, a message will confirm...
What? Just wait for a second. You do realise this is a podcast in 2017?
Listen, Super Bombad Racing is a fucking timeless classic.
Have you... Now, I'm not accusing you of anything here, but have you been taking those pills again that specifically make you think that you're writing for a PlayStation magazine in the early 2000s?
I need my pills to get me through, Chris.
The ones that look like Bassett Soft and Chewy Vitamins, which is what you're meant to be taking.
But they keep my hair nice and shiny and my nails clean.
They do, that's true. They also keep your hair clean and your nails nice and shiny.
What?
Just put the book down, Matt. Put the book down. Put the cheap book down, Matt.
To play as Boba Fett, it's square, circle, triangle, circle, square.
We've got a few things to work out. We'll see you next week.
Everyone's a can-do. Everyone's a can-do, Chris.
Boba Fett didn't have a
Big
pod
battle
racer.
tank, super spin mode, slip and slide modes. You can make it German. You can do German is a cheat code.
That doesn't make any sense.